How often do you really take the time to look around and appreciate the details in the games that you're playing? Well, I decided to start noticing those details, and you've definitely never noticed some of the details I came up with. So, in this episode of Details You Missed, we'll be looking at the Red Team's Intel room. Let's get started. So in this episode, we are going to be taking a look at the Intel's supply room and just the Intel level as a whole. Curious to see how this is going to play out, or if we will find any interesting details. Still very shocked at some of the details that we have already come across. So I am hoping that we can find some more interesting details. So I think the best way to go about this would be to start in the supply room and move our way outwards. So let me get in there and we'll start looking for details. Here we are. We made it to the resupply room. This is probably one of the smallest rooms that I've seen that looks similar to a spawn room. But theme-wise, it looks very similar to the other spawn rooms, and I'm sure that all of these props we've already come across. Would you look there? So that same pipe detail is also applicable down here, except I haven't seen it before with a curved pipe like this. I've only seen the one straight pipe. Never noticed that the curved pipe also wasn't completely connected to the ceiling. So there we go. We already got one detail, but that's technically something we've seen before, so I guess it's not something to be overjoyed about. But yes, we have two little benches, two of those large benches. We have some props that we've already seen. Here's another single dumbbell. Maybe this dumbbell connects to the one lonesome dumbbell that's in I'm not sure where it is actually in the spawns. Oh, here we go. Here's another issue. We can see here that there is a broken texture. Now, we have come across a broken texture before up in one of the spawn rooms. Interesting to see that it is also apparent down here in the resupply room. Two lights look the same. None of those little embedded lights like we saw in one of the spawn rooms up top, which is neat. Let's see. Some towels here. A mop bucket, nothing too crazy about that. There is a drain here, which makes sense for the shower theme. Another one of these alarms, which again, in universe, I feel like that's a cool detail. We also have a logo. I don't believe that there ever was a logo in the other spawn areas. And again, I don't even think this counts as a spawn area, but it's similar in purpose, you know, resupplying areas. Oh, so there's actually 4 lamps. I did not notice that. Seems like a lot of lamps if you ask me. Oh, wait. Oh! You can also see that even this pipe right up here, it does not connect to the ceiling. Very weird. Very strange how that works. Someone's hat just clipped through. Kind of funny. Very weird. I don't understand that pipe situation. Very strange. Alright, unless there is anything that I am genuinely overlooking, then I think we are good in this room. Just the pipe issues, it seems. I'm not seeing any other details. I mean, that wall looks pretty normal and natural to me. Siding of that stuff looks fine. I wonder if this is something worth pointing out at all. The mechanics of this rolling door is affixed on the outside here. I wonder if it's like that for any of the other spawn rooms. That might be worth looking into later on, following up on it. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Maybe it was a bad idea joining into a live lobby. Amazing. All right, let's go ahead and hunt for some details in the actual Intel area now. All right. Well, this is probably the most visually interesting area. Not sure if there's any details worth checking out over there. Not sure what that map information is supposed to be conveying, but lots of America is highlighted in red. There's some yellow dots and whatnot. There's yellow dots over there. Zoomed in over there as well. Much more lamps. Oh, here's something that's interesting. These outlets aren't American outlets. They don't look like it, at least. Do we have any other outlets like this in the map? Curious to see if I'm right in my assumption that this is not an American outlet, or if there's just some other outlet that I'm not aware of that would make sense in America. Because I am assuming that TF2 takes place in America. I guess I could be completely wrong, though. Might have to consult YouTube for that one. Alright, let's see what else. We have a desk here. 2 binders that are filled up. We have the Intel right here. Here we go. Here's more of these outlets. And they are going... Alright, so that actually for sure does not make sense. That's a dumb detail right there, intentional or not. Unless I'm mistaken, unless there's some electrical engineering knowledge that I'm not aware of, I can't imagine why you'd have something plug into a wall just for it to plug into another wall. I cannot believe the audacity for this person to just play the game as normal. Alright, back to the intel room. Where were we? Yes, I was pointing out how this potentially doesn't make any sense. Never thought about this before, but it's clear as day. You can see that this wall, it's plugged in here, and it's going there. But normally you draw power from the wall sockets, so yes, I can't really reason that out. So that's yet another detail that I've never noticed before. Alright, let's keep looking around. We've got a fire extinguisher over here. Another one of these alarms, which again, in universe, I think, is just, used to alert the mercenaries. We have a phone here that's not plugged into anything. I think that's actually somewhat of a detail that's worth mentioning. We have this desk that has, looks hollow. Could be just part of the design of the desk, so maybe not necessarily a detail that is, incorrect, but it is hollowed out. No drawers there. We have another map here. Not sure what those dots mean. Okay, we have these wires here that go through all of the lighting situation. We have a bar light. Have we seen a bar light before like this? I'm actually not 100% sure. We have this ventilation area, exit sign, some more pipes up there, and then more wiring. Second floor area with some computers back there, but I can't really notice anything. It does look a little bit, perspective-wise, it looks a little bit strange. Oh, and here we go. We have this area here, which, I don't know, looks like maybe a break room of some sort, maybe? Inside of the break room, we can see a map again, chalkboard with math and such on it, but I don't really understand much except for the E=mc² bit. Someone's lunch and a thermos for maybe, what is that, coffee? Is that a coffee thermos? You can't shoot in between. That's pretty neat. What about in this area? So you can shoot between these cracks. Very interesting. And there's a little meeting room up there. More maps. Lots of maps in this intel area. Some big old vents up there. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, we also have this cork board over here. Some more math, some images. To me, this kind of looks like the Team Fortress characters back there, but could be wrong about that. Might be a detail that's somewhat interesting. If that potentially ends up being actually the team, could be cool. However, in this picture, they are blue, and it is talking about something about the law. Very neat. All right, let's pick a direction to pay attention to next. Let's go ahead and check down here and see if there's any details in this area. Why are there hats that keep coming on down? Okay, well, we'll head in this direction. So here's another view of this main area down here. Again, it's pretty hard for me to discern any details, let alone any interesting details down here. Obviously, you can see a bunch of computer consoles, lots of chairs, some carpet for walking through, and this looks like an entrance type of hallway. Other than that, though, not much else for me to point out, it seems. It does seem pretty bare bones, though. This hallway looks pretty straightforward. We have a wallpaper, classic red wallpaper, some glossy tile, when you hit it right at least. Some vents on the bottom, and the these lights here. We saw these in one of the spawn rooms. Kind of like an embedded light, built-in light. Somewhat rare on this map for some strange reason. We also have a spotlight here, which is colored the same as the roof. And very weird detail I hadn't noticed before. The roof is cut out for this particular vent. Cannot understand what the purpose of that would be, other than just to have something to look at. Everything else looks pretty unremarkable to me. So let's move on to the other hallway back here. All right, now on this side we have again a very plain wall. Here's a big, I don't know, server room, something like that. There's a clock right there and a trash can. Now, this, I bet, is very good for lore reasons. There might be some details lore-wise that you could garner from this. If I knew a lot more about the lore, that would be pretty interesting, I bet. However, I'm not very familiar, so unfortunately this doesn't mean too much. And let's move on. Not sure what these are, but these seem to be covering up some sort of electronics, I would say. Nothing crazy. And then things open up with those pipes there. Bunch of vents on this side. Now we've made it to the main area where you can access the staircase or the other staircase, some sort of interface, which I don't understand. And we got some beams, some metal beams. Oh, this is interesting. These lights are hanging off of the vent, and they have these little low poly looking things on them. I mean, look at that. It just looks like a pyramid off of the vent. That actually does kind of look a little bit out of place, I personally think. I mean, obviously my attention wasn't drawn to it, but now that I'm looking, I feel like it would be less obtrusive to just have the light just go straight up to the vent. I wonder why they did that. Very interesting. We also have this thing here, which is I don't know, some sort of intercom maybe? More data link computer / consoles. Another fire extinguisher. And then this is a very decorative area. Some gravel with some stones because we're in a cave area. And once again, we have this carved out area for the ventilation. Never really took time to think about how complicated this is up here, this ventilation stuff. There's just barely hanging on. I can't tell if that is not correctly hanging or not, but you can see similar pipe situation as before, the other ones that we've seen in the spawn areas. Anyways, we have these more embedded lights. This time they're on the floor, kind of going up on the open stone area. We also have right here another camera, which actually does make a lot more sense than having a camera up in the spawn area. Again, we have more computers and whatnot. I've noticed some strange support looking beams that... Oh, another hat just fell down there. But it looks like those support beams are specifically for the ventilation. Oh, here's something I actually haven't noticed. There's lights above the ventilation as well. Now that actually doesn't make sense to me at all. Or maybe it makes sense, but I just don't understand why that would be the case. For some reason there's lights sitting up above the vent. And then there's also lights that are hanging down below. So, and we also have lights illuminating these consoles here, these computer consoles. Here's a very mundane looking area. We have a office area. I'm trying to make sense of this actually. So I wonder if the mercenaries are like interacting with these administration office type of workers. But here's a punch card. So these maybe the mercenaries clock in here and whatnot. There's a little water dispenser. Take their breaks, and I'm assuming that's where they keep their punch cards. There are 9 punch cards. So that actually does kind of match up. There's 9 mercenaries and 9 punch cards. So in lore detail, you have it right there. They're punching in and whatnot down here in the intel room. Again, we have more exposed stone architecture. Oh, there's more of those embedded lights up there. 3 little small ones. And then there's more embedded lights here on the floor with the gravel. A lot of these railings don't actually fully connect to anything. Alright, now we can start looking at the staircases. Here's a new type of light we haven't seen before. And they just kind of protrude out of the wall. There's another one right there. Somewhat of a bar type of light. Some really, really small exposed beams right there. Now walking up the staircase, you can see the underside of part of this room here. There's a camera right back there. Here's something interesting about these lights. You can see that they're open at the top, but no actual light is coming out of the top. Just a small detail there, but feels worth mentioning. And the rest of this room here is just completely wooden. We got some planks missing from the top. And everything else looks just about as you'd expect from what I can tell. Okay, so in this area though, these lamps are actually different than any of the lamps I've seen before. They don't have those little grates. We found something. That lamp is not affixed to anything right there. It's hanging right off the edge of that support beam. Wow. We gotta get that fixed. Again, maybe I haven't really been paying attention to these lamps, but I'm not sure I've seen these before. Wow, and it's right on camera too. Well, first of all, I need to see if there's any more lamps like that. Oh, okay. Well, completely different shape actually, it looks like. Completely different, yeah. That's strange. These lamps are a bit more rounded. They more align with the lamps we've seen in the spawn rooms, but these ones don't have the extra wiring. Anyways, let's check this room out. Walls look fine, a little bit differently painted, but looks fine. And then we head up here, we have a spotlight again. Another one of those lamps with the really weird polygons to wire thing, but not shaped like the other lamp that was messed up on the other entrance. So far, these pipes here are properly supported, and that's pretty much it. Oh, we have a light switch. Oh, this light switch isn't really connected to anything. I mean, I guess technically it could just go into the wall, but it doesn't look like that was intentionally, it looks like the lack of detail could almost be a mistake. I mean, you'd expect to see, I wonder if we have an example where they did it purposefully, a wire just going into the wall. You might be able to find a quick detail like that. Let me check that. No, I'm not seeing anything. They all go up to the roof for some reason. Potentially could be a mistake. It does look a bit strange to me. Yeah, because every other wire exposed like that just goes straight up into a roof ceiling. Alrighty, well that's pretty much everything we found. Again, a little bit more details than I was expecting to find. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to support these videos, be sure to check out the Patreon. You could even join as a free member to get text updates on progress for these videos. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.